to start. First of all, you're a young man, but you're not a teenager. Let's so so I guess you grew up in different music scene where the technology was not the main ally.
Sure.
How you have to adapt to put a new band and to a new audience who are very different from us because they don't buy CDs, they love Spotify and everything like that. We have Napster and even Lars Ulrich hate it, but we do the Napster thing. So
That's
how
not
you adapt and realize that you have to do something different for the Color 59?
Yeah, no, it's a great question because the things have changed over time. I've been making music for a long time, and it was, I remember handing out cassette tapes, and then it went to CDs and then, but the wonderful thing is that still people like vinyl, right? And so that's
Okay.
something that we're going to be working on, and we'll always put out our records on vinyl because I'd like to have something to hold. But the situation is now that, just making one record and then touring on that one record for a bulk of work for a year, it doesn't work anymore, right? Because everybody wants something new every day or every other week, right? So fortunately, this wasn't the plan, but this is working out for us, is that because we took some time off in between releasing music, and over the past year with the pandemic, we spent a lot of time recording a lot of songs. And so we've now got like an inventory of songs, so it can match that situation, right? Where soon we'll be able to, like, we released something in May, this song String Ladder, and we're going to release something in June and then in July, and we can do that now for the, each month. And that's not to like feed that monster, but because that's the way things work now with like getting the, trying to get attention through streams, So on the business end, I think that we'll be able to do that. For us though, thankfully, it hasn't changed the way that I approach writing music. It hasn't really changed the way that we as a band approach writing music. We're not trying to make something just because we have to do it in a month, no?
Yeah, well, how does it work for you? This thing that when you have only one record, you're like gonna be an opener. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But then you have a new record, then everything starts to change a little bit. Then you have to be the main event of a night. So how do you live like that?
We're excited about that prospect, If that happens, that's going to be, really exciting, because one of the things that we really like to do, I like to do visuals. And so now it's an opportunity to set the stage, for a live show, to be able to like grow not only what we're doing musically, but like having more people to help support us, no? Like what's going on right now is we've got people helping us to, set up this interview with you right now. And then there's people in Mexico they're helping us out. So that's I think a wonderful opportunity for us to like work with other people. And I love to collaborate with people. And so like expanding what we're doing. Last night we had a meeting, our band, and we were talking, because we're going to have a record release show here in San Diego at the Casbah, which is a really, great place to play on a Friday night. And we're the headlining. That's kind of the first time we've been given that opportunity, like you said, no? And so we're like, we got to make this right, And so we're going to have visuals, and it allows us to kind of expand what we're doing as far as our presentation, which is exciting, no?
Yeah. Talking about other things, does it sometimes, I guess, well, in the United States was more like this, like as a new band plays hoping that the Holy Ghost helps you to find a manager, and then a big label, and everything starts growing up, and you don't have to do anything. But everything changes. So Is it too expensive to be a new band right now?
It's yeah. No, it's, I look at it in two ways, right? Or maybe three ways. One, I'm happy to be able to have, I have another job right now, and that helps to pay for, you know, getting the support and helping to, you know, get some support in like press and things like that, no? But also that feels okay to me to like, particularly during pandemic, is to be able to, you know, help employ people. That's a good thing, right? But also for me, like music, and for the rest of the band also, we want, one of our main goal is to be able to do interesting things, no? And so for me, for us, that means to travel, to go play in Mexico, go play in Japan again, or do things like that. And so I think it's a good investment because it gets us those opportunities, and that those kinds of opportunities are the reward, no? Like, so to maybe pay to go on a vacation, I'd, you know, I'm okay with like putting the cost of making that vacation a musical vacation, and then something can grow from that, no? And then, you know, I'm trying to be optimistic that some of the rewards will come back, not just in experiences, but also, you know, by selling some records and merchandise and stuff too. So.
How did you end up in Japan?
Playing a shitty show at the Casbah on a Tuesday night, really. We, in an old band, we took a show with this band from Japan called Mainliner, and you know, it was a bad show, like on a Tuesday night, but we got to meet this guy Makoto Kawabata from Acid Mother's Temple. Do you know that band?
No.
You should check them out. They're amazing. It's amazing, like Japanese heavy psych music, and they're amazing. But they were nothing like the band that I was in, which was a really quiet band at the time. So it was like a really mismatched show. But he really liked the music that we were doing, right? And that's again like the importance of doing shows, is you make those connections. And so we made this friendship with Makoto, and we ended up doing remixing a record, and then helping us go over there and tour over there. So I've kept that friendship with him and help him out when he comes this way, and he set up some tours over there.
How is it to play again with in front of Japanese? They are really strange for us because Latin America is like, yeah, everything noisy and everyone screams, and then Americans are like, I'm gonna stand up, I'm gonna be like this all show. It doesn't matter if it's Black Sabbath or Justin Bieber. I'm gonna be like that. But Japanese are on their seats and then just like clap clap. But they're inside, I guess they're like in adrenaline crazy.
You're exactly right. I was going to say exactly the same thing. You know, you go to Japan and it's just so respectful, and you hit the first note and the room is silent. So you have to, you know, be on it. And it helps you play in a different way, no? It really helps you think about your songs. And so some of, like when we toured there, for instance, the song that we just released, the violin part on that really came from us playing in Japan, because you could hear so well, and it was so focused that this new melody came out of that. But yeah, there's our first night, the last time we played in Japan, we played and the curtains came open, and you just see people sitting there staring at you like cold, and you're like, and you play and they're not doing anything. Maybe 3 people in the back are swaying and they're going crazy, right? But you're so right about in America too. It's like, yeah, I'm too cool, too cool, too cool. And then in Mexico, like they're out to have fun and talking, and so you have to know that, right, about when you're playing. And so that's maybe a little challenge for us, because some of our music's, you know, kind of quiet, and we want people to hear that. So maybe the Japanese audience maybe gets a little more out of our music that way, you know. But also I understand, like in Mexico, it's you know, people are out for a good time, and shit, that's okay. If we're supposed to be entertaining, then we'll do our best. But
Also in Mexico, I guess you have to play louder.
yeah. No, the first couple shows that we played down in Mexico City, one was at like this place, McCarthy's Irish Pub,
Yeah.
and I think it's mostly cover bands that play there, and we were the first band that was playing just original music, and the crowd liked it, but it was a different expectation, and they were just talking and having a good time the whole time, and so we had to kind of, in Japan, you're really focused. In Mexico, you're like trying to put out a bit more energy, and the songs speed up or the voices get louder, and it's okay. It's different.
Yeah, totally different from each place. And right now, is there any San Diego scene? Because I remember there was the California glam metal scene, the New York hardcore scene. Does San Diego have any like this?
It's a good question. Like back in the 90s, there was that big Rocket from the Crypt and a lot of bands that, it was the next Seattle, right? Now I think, there's a group of bands that are part of what's called the Redwoods Collective. There's like 5 or 6 bands that are all on the same label. Not really so much my cup of tea. It's kind of folky, rocky kind of stuff. And then there's some kind of dark wave stuff going on. But it's hard to say right now because there's been no shows for a year, right? And so I think it's broken up some bands, but for us it helped in a way. It feels like we're excited because now we put a lot of energy and we've got a lot of things in line. And so I'm excited for our next show to be kind of a big thing, right? Like you said, we used to be the opener and now we're going to be the headliner, and that's exciting to me. So it's hard to say exactly if there's a big movement because there haven't been any shows here, no?
Well, yeah, you're right. But another question is that every kind of music changes from, even if there's a frontier, it changes. We have Tito and Tarantula and Calexico. They're very near Mexico, but they have their style. But you're different. You're not like the spaghetti Western style, but not also you're like ska and everything like that. You kind of have this folk type of music, like the old guys like Nick Cave and something like that. But also reminds me that single, the ladder. A little bit of automatic for the people of REM. It's kind of be like dark, a little bit slow, but very intimate.
Oh.
So
that's interesting. Then
that's my opinion. Well,
that's cool.
I'm out of it. But what's the sound for you? What's the sound right now of the band?
Somebody like talked about our music being like desert music, which is kind of a nice way to think about it. It's a bit cinematic. It's kind of open and lots of wide open spaces to it. It's interesting you bring up REM for that song because the next song that we're coming out with, I was just on a radio station here. It's called Another World, and I can send it to you. But a few people have said, wow, that sounds like REM too. So it's interesting to hear that because I like REM, but I don't have any REM records, no? It's interesting to hear that that's coming out of it, and maybe that's part of the sound of the ukulele that I'm playing. But you mentioned like Nick Cave and that dark kind of element I think carries on in our music. Them and like the Tinder Sticks, and Leonard Cohen is somebody that I've been influenced by, mostly like in his lyrics and just kind of the way of his sort of storytelling. Yeah. I think I spend a lot of time on lyrics, maybe too much time on lyrics. And I think everybody in the band likes that the songs are lyric driven. So I think that's maybe what maybe kind of creates our sound. And
I
the fact,
also, sorry, I also noticed that the lyrics are maybe a little bit different because you're not the band who plays the chorus like 80 times a song, no?
right.
How did your mind goes for making all these different verses and not be like boring yourself or your bandmates, something like that?
Thank you. I appreciate that because I like I said, I spend a lot of time thinking about the lyrics and trying to think about like a storyline. Like sometimes the story, I like to think about maybe a situation that I'm thinking of or that is personal to me, and then maybe fictionalize it a little bit to kind of make it a little cryptic, no? And so I understand the need for catchy bits, right, in songwriting, but also I don't want to be repetitive. I don't want to do that. And so I think it's interesting to find different ways of doing that chorus. No, like if it's not exactly the same words, how can we change it so that he said it this way, and that meant something a little bit different than just repeating. No. Which I think I'm proud of that. And I want to hold true to that, But I also think that maybe gets in the way of some people responding to our music right away. Like I was sending out String Ladder, which I think is a beautiful song. I'm very proud of it. But when I send it to some people, like I recognize that nothing really happens in the first 20, 30 seconds of the song, right? And
Yeah.
today, in these times, that's too much time for a lot of people. They're like, I don't have time to listen to that, right? Which is, it's an unfortunate problem, but we're going to try and be true to what we do and try to be true to that song. If it feels like it needs that slow entrance, then that's what we'll do. And some people respond to that and appreciate that. And if they don't, well, then they can listen to other stuff too.
At the end, who the hell cares? It's your music, right? So
Yeah.
you have to be happy with it first of all, and then publish.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how did Rubén Albarran came from these songs?
So
Really different music. O sea, did you like Café Tacuba or even know him before, or how?
I knew them, of course. I knew who they were, and I've known some of their songs, and their music is very different than ours. It came from playing a show in Tijuana with a band called Silent. There's another like band from Mexicali. They're super like hardcore. But that night I met Marla Games, who was. She said she really liked our music and was interested in helping us out, maybe setting up shows or whatever. And she works with Rubén. And so months later, I was telling her that I have this song that's got some border themes and that I was thinking that it should have some like mariachi sound, going back to that kind of Calexico idea maybe. And then I said, maybe I could do it in Spanish as well. And she said, well, if you do it in Spanish, you should maybe ask Rubén. He's heard your music and he likes your music. And I was like, wow, okay, well, that would be fantastic. I don't imagine that he would want to, but okay. And then long story short, she ended up sending it to him without me knowing. And then he said, yeah, I want to do this song. So I went down to Mexico City and went to their studio, and he was super generous, super kind, and reworked some of the lyrics with him. And he did the whole song in Spanish. But because of the whole theme of the song, it's like it's got some cross-border themes, and so we ended up choosing to do it in a bilingual way, no? So I sing one verse and he does, and ba ba ba. but yeah, man, super nice guy, and I was, you know, very honored that he would want to do it, and I think it, you know, it's come out really nicely. I'm not. Have you heard it at all?
No, I haven't heard it.
Oh, okay.
I'm expecting it. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Why the border theme? Is it the new album goes for that way, or did you have any experience more than be just nearby?
For me, I love Tijuana, and I love. I'm originally from England, and so I've lived in a few different countries. So I love to travel, right? That's a really important thing for me, and so I'm like 17 minutes if I get in my car from here to the border. And so I go to Tijuana all the time. And throughout the times that I've been down there, I've been able to work with different artists, some documentary filmmakers. We've done some soundtracks for them. Like there was a documentary called Tijuaniados Anónimos, and we did the soundtrack for that. It was about like all the problems that were happening in Tijuana in like 2009, 2010. And then continued to work with that group called Dignicraft. And so, you know, and I work in a school, and so we've had, you know, some of our students have been, you know, kids that cross the border all the time, and it's just it's a great scene for me in Tijuana. No, like it's got a different vibe, it's got a different feeling than San Diego for sure. And so, you know, I love to go down there to eat. I go down there and hang out. I've got a bunch of friends who are artists, and so I feel pretty close to the fabric of Tijuana. And for me, of course, like the issue of immigration we see it a lot here, and I feel it a lot because I'm an immigrant myself, but a very privileged one. No, I can cross that border easy and come back easy. And there's friends of mine in Tijuana that can't come here, and that's not fair, right? That's not equal, no. So that the song that we did with Rubén speaks about that, like these obstacles that we put in between people that are like, whether they're borders or discrimination and then that kind of thing. So I think that theme resonated with Rubén as well, like because like the song talks about those obstacles, but that in the end we all want the same kind of thing, right? You know, if you look from a different perspective, we all want, yeah, to feel loved, and you know, so.
Yeah, great. So you have heard the word gringo like 10,000 million times, right?
Or güero.
Güero, el güero, yeah.
I think I've advanced to güero because I speak Spanish, and so hey.
So you've been from England, then you can go to the United States, and when everything stops, this pandemic, hope so, you're gonna be on tour again.
Yeah. So we're gonna play here in San Diego at the Casbah. It's the first shows that they're doing are on July 15th, and we're playing the next weekend on the 23rd. And then we're coming down to Mexico City, playing a show on the 30th at Rey Vinilo, the place that we're getting our vinyl made. And then going to Querétaro, and then we're trying to confirm some other shows, maybe in Guanajuato and Puebla. And then we're going to be playing at Bajo Circuito in Mexico on the 7th of August. So
at August, so you're gonna meet a lot of territory.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and then the last thing I want to ask you, please, if you could say to the people of Pólvora is powder.
Hola Pólvora, we are the Color 49, and we are releasing a new record in July 23rd. We have a single out called String Ladder, and it is out now on all the platforms, Spotify and all that beautiful stuff. And we'll be putting out another song in June 18th called Another World. So I hope you can listen to it.
So that's awesome. Thank you, Bill. Hope to see you here.
Okay, are you in Mexico?
Yep, Mexico City.
Okay, cool, man.